name is Dr. Gim Gimerson, and this is Do What I Say and No One Gets Hurt. I'm just... Yeah. Hi. Tonight on our show, I'm gonna pick a subject for Do What I Say and No One Gets Hurt. Let's see what it is. Drum roll, please. And it's George Bush. This is gonna be a fun one to write, guys. It's gonna be a fun one to write. First guest.
My name is...
No.
I was just...
Yeah. Shut up.
But...
No one loves you. And tonight we're going to be talking about George Bush. We're going to talk about how he's a chief regulator.
Do you mean chief legislator?
Well, that's Fred.
Okay. Well, as chief legislator, George Bush passed a couple key pieces of legislation. The Immigration Reform Act of 1990, the Clean Air Act, and the American Disabilities Act. Now, all three of these pieces of legislation flew in the face of traditional Republican policy. And it's for that reason you can really see George Bush is a piece of counter, like he's a counterweight to the traditional Republican right, so to speak. Please don't kill me.
Alright, well that's all fascinating. Now stick your hand in guacamole.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
No.
Hey. Just fine.
Okay, well, George H.W. Bush inherited a $220 billion deficit from his predecessor, Ronald Reagan. And in addition to that, he gave his famous speech about 1,000 points of light in which he promised no new taxes. Unfortunately, having to deal with a Democratic Congress in both the House and the Senate, he was forced to compromise on a lot of spending cuts and tax increases, and ultimately that is what many believe cost him his re-election.
You know what? I think your beard sucks. So I'm gonna get it. You gotta get out of here, and we're gonna get your beard shaved out. Get out of here! Alright, my next guest is this guy. Grow. Go.
What do you want me to talk about?
Shut up!
Where's my family?
Tuesday. Talk about war stuff.
Well, there are 3 areas of military conflicts under President Bush. You have Panama, Kuwait, and Somalia. In Panama, President Reagan tried to take out...
Don't mind me.
Friend of Fidel Castro, Manuel Noriega. But Bush was the one who succeeded in this. In 1989, he established democratic elections, and the people selected Guillermo Endara. But Noriega re-seized control, and a U.S. serviceman was shot. So President Bush ordered in 24,000 troops and seized Noriega, who was convicted on racketeering and drug trafficking charges. When Saddam Hussein he invaded Kuwait, President Bush ordered a complete withdrawal of Iraqi forces. And when he got the okay from Congress, he started a 4-week bombing run. And that led to a ground invasion that only lasted 100 hours. But he didn't push for an invasion of Baghdad because he didn't want American troops to die. And this led his approval ratings to skyrocket. In Somalia, there was a civil war. He was already lame duck at that time. Operation Restore Hope It was a failure. It was a failure. I want to see my family. Where's my family?
I have a song for you. My next guest today is NBA star Jeremy Lin.
Dude, what?
Hey, Jeremy Lin, have you seen a new movie starring with George Bush called The Republicans? It's got Bruce Willis and A Good Day to Die Hard in it. What are your thoughts?
On George Bush being a Republican? Okay. George Bush, he, for the Republican Party, when he was nominated, mainly because he was, the vice president under Reagan, he supported many of the same things as Reagan had, positively done under his, term. And, he supported things like school prayer, the nuclear family. He was against abortion. He supported, gun rights. He wasn't really able to get anything passed though under his legislation, under his term, with most of the legislation going to what is now thought of as Democratic favored laws, and this really hurt him in his re-election, or in his second run in 1992, where he lost many of his votes to the other conservative candidate, Ross Perot. Dude, can I get out of these?
So Jeremy Lin.
I'm not Jeremy Lin.
Tell me what it's like being an
I'm not
NBA
Jeremy
star.
Lin.
What is it like playing in New York? Is it good playing in New York?
I don't play on the Knicks anymore. I'm with the Rockets now.
My next guest is head of state. Go! Go! Go!
Okay.
Go!
The president
Go!
wasn't really known for his speaking style, but he had one particularly famous speech that clinched his nomination and eventually drove him into office, called the 1,000 Points of Light, which I believe I've touched on before.
I knew that.
Now, it's unfortunate, but the wave of popularity he received after the election didn't quite follow all the way through his term.
I know.
And a mild recession combined with the pardoning of the government employees involved with the Iran-Contra affair led to him ultimately losing the election to Bill Clinton in 1992.
Yeah, I know that. I knew all this stuff. I knew everything. Get off my show.
Alright.
You're garbage.
Oh, alright.
The next guest is he's from Russia. And he's doing a foreign policy.
I'm not from Russia.
You're from Russia. You're from where I said you were. Point on the map where you're from.
To Russia?
No, the blue part.
The what?
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 What? Okay, let's talk about foreign policy.
Okay, well, let's... The most famous example of President Bush abroad isn't necessarily a happy one.
Yeah,
well, most people could remember the highlights,
I remember.
such as the 1989 meeting with
I was there.
Gorbachev,
I
or
was
the
there.
1991 START agreement.
I remember that.
Most people would agree that the most public instance of Bush abroad was when he vomited on Japanese Prime Minister Kiichi Miyazawa.
Some president thing he'd throw up because he knows on camera. Do we have any other guests? Let's bring back Jeremy Lin.
Get in.
Alright, my next guest is not Jeremy Lin. Wink, wink, wink. So, tell us about your magic chief executive.
You mean how George Bush did as a chief executive?
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's see. George Bush, he ran a pyramid structure. So he had his chiefs of staff report to him directly. He had 3 chiefs of staff during his tenure as president. He had Sununu, Skinner and Baker. Bush also had Quayle as his vice president, but he was not the smartest of men. He also Bush had a decent cabinet, and he didn't lose too many cabinet members during his tenure. He only had 4 resign. Other than that, he ran his executive office pretty well. He had a decent relationship with them. Why am I here?
Duh. We better... What time is it? We gotta get Gary Lynn to his basketball game! What's it like playing basketball? Well, I guess that's the end of the show. Goodbye.
What are y'all doing in my